Hello, and welcome to this very special episode of the Magical Mothering Podcast, where we have our very first magical conversation with Monica Shepherd. She is the organic naturopath and founder of the meditation and mental health course, The Connected Brain. Thank you very much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
Of course. So I would love to hear about your journey as a magical mother, raising intuitive, connected children and owning our shadows. Tell me about your story.
Thank you. That's such a good question. And actually, I was just thinking about it driving today, how my life experiences have really shaped me for where I'm at right now. And it's a beautiful thing to reflect back on and go, hold on, I really was being led and prepared for what I'm experiencing right now in life. So I'm currently a single mother with a beautiful 7-year-old daughter who is delightful, intuitive, sensitive. And when I think back over the years to, all the friendships I've had, all the people I've met, I feel like I've been prepared for where I'm at right now in life. And just being able to have that perspective of going, this is part of my journey, and being grateful and knowing that I was prepared for it in itself is magical. Um, yeah, it's really magical. And yeah,
You really get introduced to the people that you need along your path, don't you?
you really do. You really do. And I think back to, some of the single mothers I'd known earlier in life, or even some of the friends I had with kids, and how that's really shaped me to where I'm at right now. And I'm grateful for that. One of my good friends at the moment, her eldest daughter is 15, and I knew her when she was a baby, and the cutest baby in the world. And to be able to even watch a friend's child grow, I think that's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful gift. And I hope that now I'm able to gift that to friends that I have as well. So it's this connection, right?
Yeah, it's like the weaving of the village. We bring people along for this
Mm.
ride, and that's really beautiful because then we bring in this support system and we've got people that really know us and our children, and that brings in more trust, and that's really what makes it, isn't it?
It really is. It absolutely is. People have this opinion, especially of me being a naturopath at the moment. I'm doing my master's in mental health. And as you mentioned, I have this beautiful course that I've developed to help people, with their habits and to have a more connected brain. And they ask me, how do you do all of this? And I'm like, but I don't do all of it. I have so much support, and I have so many other mums who are also juggling, and juggle those balls. They're fun to juggle as well.
And it doesn't have to be perfect, does it? It's all about choosing which ball to juggle and which ball to let drop and let someone else catch something. And it's not all a priority.
I really love that. That's such an important
Yeah.
message. And it's something, I'm always reminding myself of. It definitely does not have, when my daughter was a toddler, another mum said, perfection can be just a waste of time.
Yeah.
And it took me time to understand that. But now I go, hold on, they're right. Like, as you get older, you go, I don't have the time for perfection.
Exactly.
Like,
Not at
I've
all.
got so much I want to achieve. I don't have the time.
That's exactly it. And yeah, I'm completely there with you. So you work a lot in the field of depression and anxiety with mental health. Is that right?
Yeah, that is right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, depression, anxiety are common presentations, but you can see things like ADHD or even just stress
Yeah.
and issues with sleep as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So how do you see this has been a contributing factor in the mums that you know in your circles?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I mean, there's a lot of contention about what depression and anxiety even are. Even in 2021, we're still going, hold on, is this something to do with our brain? Is it something to do with our nervous system? What we definitely do know is that, our diet and our lifestyle definitely impacts our mood. And what we do know as well is that the behaviors and habits that we have every day also massively affect our mood. And the biggest one being, how do we deal with stress? And let's face it, motherhood does place a lot of demands on us. And it can
Exactly.
also be quite isolating,
Yes,
being
it
at
is.
home with children. Yeah.
Not everybody is as
So,
lucky to have this village, and a lot of mums are dealing with having to juggle all of those balls on their own and don't have somebody to pass them off on to. So that can be really depleting and overwhelming, and all of the things that of course add up onto the stress load, and even leading onto that anxiety and depression load as well.
yeah, absolutely. So, what's really going to matter is the things that you're doing consistently. So, meditation, I talk about a lot because it's just a way of, allowing your creativity to come through, allowing you to actually be able to hear the answers and solutions. Because often we ask a lot of questions in life, and that's great.
Yeah.
And we're creating these problems, but then we're not even allowing our brains to be able to hear the answer or to get really creative and try different solutions.
Yeah, we were just talking about this when we had the chat on your Instagram channel the other week, about
Mm,
allowing the space for things to unfold. And like that's what
yeah.
meditation gives us, is that space to be able to hear our own inner voice. So, how do you think that we can create these habits when we've got so much on our plates as mothers?
Yeah, so I often say to my clients, it's about streamlining and making things as easy as possible.
Mm,
So, for example, with good nutrition, it requires a little bit of organization, because the reality is, I often say, if you're waiting till 6:37 o'clock at night to make a really good food decision when you're already starving, it's really difficult. But if you have some idea of what some meals in the week will be like,
mm,
and you have some of your vegetables cut up, or maybe you have a couple of lunches made, and maybe what some of your really healthy takeaway options are in the area. We can get a good smoothie, or a good veggie curry, or something really substantial. Then you're streamlining that, you're not having to think about it as much. So it's streamlining those type of things. Like, good nutrition essentially will prop you up so much. And I think with meditation, it really just needs to be a habit. It's something I do every morning. A lot of people think of meditation as something to go to sleep with, but ideally it's best done morning and a little bit at night, so that we're enabling that creativity, and then we're giving our minds time to process what's come through. So it's
yeah,
it's just habit, really, streamlining what you can and habit.
I
It sounds
completely
simple, it
agree.
sounds boring.
It's
Yeah.
yeah, it's something that I
And I
say as
know,
well,
yeah.
is that I talk a lot to my clients about rhythm, is create a rhythm for your day, or like your morning
Mm,
routine or ritual, and your evening ritual. Because, like you were saying, if you wait until the end of the day to do your meditation, I fall asleep because I'm so wrecked by the time I'm hitting the pillow. I'm going
mm,
to sleep. And so, yeah, meditation's a morning thing for me as well. And it's all like that habit.
mm.
If you can build it into your rhythm, your daily rhythm, and find a space for it, then it makes it so much easier, especially with the food. And have you ever like done the theme? I think when things are really hectic here, when I've got lots of uni on and everything's all cramming in my head, theme night for dinner is like every week we have this on this night, and we would have different meals each night of the
Mm.
week, but it'll just be keeping it on theme for the days helps us to not have to make so many of those mental decisions.
Yes, that's exactly right. How can I limit the amount of things I have to actually think about in a day, right? So that I have
Exactly.
that brain space for, more creative things or learning new skills. And, when we talk about conditions like depression or anxiety, the biggest risk factor is long-term stress.
Yeah.
And, I was looking at a statistic the other day going, when it comes to mental illness and the emergency department, what do most people present with? And of course, the number one is still going to be psychotic substance abuse. But number two is anxiety related conditions caused by long term stress or acute stress. And I'm going, hold on. How serious is this issue of dealing with stress in our society? And when are we going to come back to these basics? I love the idea of a theme night. It keeps some kind of routine, but you're able to change that a little bit,
Yeah.
as
Change it
well, so that,
around.
it's not boring. And yeah, I think that's amazing.
You can have just like
But
stir
we,
fry as a theme and then change up what you put in the stir fry, but it's the basics of veggies and something else, just add them together. And yeah, what I was going to lead you from that is that it's often that we leave it until we get to that burnout state. We don't think about our
Mhm.
mental health, our buildup of long term stress, all the anxieties, all the little niggly bits that are all putting on the pressure. We don't think about it until we're already burning out. Then we're like, oh, I'm drowning. Like, I need to do something now. So, this prevention is so important to be able to start the rhythm, start your habits, do your meal planning and your prepping and get it on before it becomes an issue of burnout.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've touched on such an important topic, and that's like recognizing the signs and symptoms as early as we can. So, if you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed, that's definitely time to do something then. Or if you're feeling like, oh, I'm not sleeping so well, or my energy is really low, get help at those stages. Because if we wait until it snowballs, it's a whole different picture. And we know as naturopaths how many great tools we have to physically help the body adapt to stress. Like we literally have adaptogens that help us adapt. Like it's beautiful
Yeah,
what nature
definitely
has
our
already
best
given us.
friends. Definitely our best friends, aren't they?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And for mums, I think a lot of mums would be like not sure what they could be taking when they're pregnant and breastfeeding, but there's so many adaptogens that are actually perfect for a mother at those stages of her life.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. There's like you said, nature, our mother nature is looking after us. She's really providing us exactly what we need. We just have to listen. And on this topic
Mm.
of meditation and motherhood, is there any tips that you have to help our kids create these habits of meditation? Because I know that I've had to come up with some creative ways to help my kids meditate because they say that I was just talking to my daughter about it today, how she finds just normal sitting down, meditation, listening, being still boring, and she doesn't want to do it. So we've had to come up with some really creative ways that she can drop into her inner self and find her calm and her grounded state without it being too boring for her. Do you have any tips around that for mums with their kids?
Yeah, that's a great question. And the thing is, adults and children often do require different meditation techniques and styles. And the reason being is that when children are young, they're already in a state of being. And when we're older, we've lost a lot of that. And so the type of meditation we do is going to be really different and different to help us with our stage of consciousness. So children actually still do really well with guided meditation,
Yeah.
where for an adult, a guided meditation is going to be very surface level. So it's not it guided meditation can be beneficial for an adult, but it's not going to help them with, the same level of consciousness
Mm.
that different techniques do. So for children, we generally say 1 minute for how old they are. So a 6-year-old child, 6 minutes, a 7-year-old child, 7 minutes. And that is completely reasonable. You think how long that is for a child of that age to be doing anything, that feels like a long time for them.
Yeah.
Right. And so trying up different guided meditations and keep looking for ones that are that short are really, really important.
Yeah.
And for children, once a day is really fine as well, because like so they're still in that state of being and consciousness that we tend to lose in our society later on.
Yeah.
So their needs are definitely going to be different around meditation to what an adult's is. So it's a really good point. And it's finding that what the child will enjoy as well. So we don't want to push them too much and make it an uncomfortable experience.
Yeah.
And so for some children, for them, you can definitely change it up. If they prefer the morning, that's fine. If they prefer nighttime, that's great. But the best way, of course, is to role model it as something that you do. And
Yeah.
so even if this day or this week they're not that keen on it, when they see over their childhood that this is something you have consistently done, they're much more likely to take it up themselves as an adult.
That's exactly what I've found with my kids is that they'll often take themselves off and do a meditation out in the yard because that's what they see me doing is they see me walking down the back and finding a nice quiet spot in the yard and just tuning into nature. And I'm finding that they're doing these things, but not, and something that's really important to me in my parenting is to allow them the space to create their own passions and journeys. So I learned that the hard way when they were a lot younger to like you can't push them. You can't say, "Okay, it's meditation time. We're going to be doing this now," because our new children have got their own minds made up already. They're on their own pathway. So we can't really force them into doing anything that we think is best. We've got to help them to navigate it on their own. And so modeling has been something that's really been important for us. My daughter was just saying today that she finds it really, really soothing and calming to play with her slime and her kinetic sand and just
Mm.
rubbing into that really sensory text textile with her hands, and just that helps her to feel really, really calm. And so it's these out of the box thinking that the kids are doing these things and we think, oh, she's just obsessed with slime and she's always making these concoctions and getting slime on everything, but it's actually something that we need to allow space for because that's her way of tuning in to her inner sense of calm.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And I like how you've said as well that, it's not about forcing them, but letting them come to their own conclusions, but allowing that space and that opportunity as well. So, it might be, hold on, we're going to have, for families that have a lot of TV, it might be we're going to have that off for a while and I'm going to meditate. And, you can as well if you choose to, if you choose to do slime, if you choose to do some mind mapping or coloring in, that's fine. But we're creating this space for this time right now. So
Definitely.
that's really beautiful and on point. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
my
it's the same
mantra
with
is
nutrition. Yeah.
yeah, I was going to say my mantra is when the sun goes down, it's time for quiet and slow. And so just don't care what you're doing as long as
Mm.
it's quiet and slow. And yeah, tell me about it with same with nutrition.
Yeah, I like that mantra. I'm going to use that. But yeah, with nutrition, I find as well, I'll have a lot of parents say, oh, I don't know how to get my child to eat, you know, better or make better food choices. And once again, it's about offering this is the variety, or this is the choice of healthy food we've got tonight. And we let them choose. So, it's on the table. We've got our chickpeas, we've got our spinach. If they like rice, that's fine to have something that they're going to eat. And
Yeah.
then you just allow them to, not make a big deal about it, but it becomes their choice. It doesn't become so forced.
Completely agree. That's my method as well, is the share plates on the table and you can take what you want from there and you take your quantity that you wanted to eat, and it's handing that control over to them, which is really going to help them to feel empowered in their choices.
It's beautiful. So I feel like, we're talking about magical mothering. And I would like to hope that, a lot of what we've said takes the pressure off a lot of women out there. Is I hope that they can look back on their lives and go, how was all the friendships I've made? How have all the experiences prepared me for where I'm at right now, so that I'm actually quite capable. I've actually been divinely led in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And, I don't have to be perfect, and I can streamline things, and I can actually give my children a lot of choice and space to be who they're meant to be.
Choice and
Yeah.
space for them is everything. And that's a part of this magical mothering journey is actually nurturing that within ourselves, giving ourselves space and trust to follow our own intuition,
Mm,
because that's what we need to be able to allow our kids to do that. So, yeah, a lot of that being able to just lay all the food out on the table and let the kids make their own choices about what's on their plate can be really hard for us as mums to stop speaking and stop trying to force them to, eat more veggies or have more of this or don't eat so much of that. Try and control their portion sizes. Where if we allow them to trust their bodies and what they need, we've done our job. We've provided the healthy food. It's up to them to eat what they want from there.
that's beautiful. I love that trust, that level of trust.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
tell me, Monica, where can we find your course, The Connected Brain?
Yeah, so there's a couple of ways. There is a website that is the Connected Brain as well. But you can also find it on Instagram. So at the.connectedbrain
Yep.
is where you can find the beautiful course. And so that's actually based on the One Giant Mind Meditation Teacher program, which I'm really immersing myself in this year. And it will also have a lot of, nuggets that come from being a naturopath and the mental health specialty as well.
Beautiful.
And as far as the magical mothering journey, it is a journey. And,
It is.
I'm really grateful to meet beautiful people like yourself along the way.
And me, you. It's been great to have you here. And thank you so much for joining me, for giving me your time tonight. I so look forward to hearing more about your pathway with the connected brain and bringing it all together. So thank you so much for coming with me tonight.
You're so welcome. Thank you for having me.
That's okay.